In my view, we need bold changes in our criminal justice system. As a first step, we need to start treating prisoners like human beings. Private companies, private corporations should not be profiteering from their incarceration. Our emphasis must be on rehabilitation, not incarceration and longer prison sentences. In that regard, the basic decisions regarding criminal justice and public safety must be the responsibility of the citizens of our country and not the investors in private corporations.
We should not tolerate conditions in prison that have no place in any civilized country.
People on opposite sides of the political aisle spend a lot of time shouting at one another. The left creates a narrative, the right responds to the narrative, but no one pauses to investigate. All that's about to change. One of my favorite things to do on the weekend is to explore leftist narratives. Throughout the 2016 election cycle, presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders promised his supporters that if elected, he would do away with the private prison facilities. Bernie didn't get elected, but that was a noble idea, right? I mean, private prisons are the reason for mass incarceration. They push through pieces of legislation to incentivize harsh convictions. Plus, the inmates are treated like crap. Is that a fact? Or is it a narrative? There's only one way to find out. I'm going to prison. So what's actually really funny about this drive is that it exactly reminds me, the only visual recall that I have of visiting my uncle in prison when I was a little tot was that it was the longest drive. There was absolutely no scenery and it just looked green. So I think a lot of these facilities are just in the middle of nowhere. So it'll be interesting to see. I've not been back to prison since then. So my uncle served a sentence. I actually don't know what he was in prison for, but we went to go visit him, and all I distinctly remember was a vending machine. And we used to just, me and my sisters, had the best time visiting him because we would just race back and forth from the vending machine and get money from my mom and dad and buy snacks. So it's interesting to think about it now in the retrospect because people are always like, oh, was that traumatizing for you as a little girl? And it really wasn't. I remember it being like quite a pleasant experience. I think what's super fascinating about the time that we live in now is that people just accept whatever anybody tells them to be true. Like nobody actually goes and explores things on their own. And I want to make a habit of always just going to see, like, okay, if these detention centers are awful, then I'm going to see a lot of awful things today. If these private prison systems are terrible and bad for the prisoners, then I'm going to see a lot of really terrible, awful things for the prisoners. And look, I'm definitely not one to mince words, so if it's bad, I'll say so. We shall see. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Candace Owens.
How are you? My name's Aaron Bain.
Did anybody tell you why I'm here?
No, ma'am.
No idea. You're just nice enough to just come speak to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have been really curious about a lot of the narratives that are circulated in the media that people just perceive to be true without actually going and speaking to the people that they're talking about. Okay. So one such narrative is during the last presidential election cycle, and a lot of the candidates that are being elected for offices now, a big platform that they run on is saying that they will abolish private prison groups like GEO. They say that they're inhumane, they're for profit, the people are treated terribly here, and that we should really only have DOC type facilities. Interesting face you made. Yeah. Now my experience here has been completely counter to that, and I just wanted to see, because did you start your sentence in this?
No, ma'am.
You did not?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I've been in prison for 20 years.
Wow.
My first 16 years was in Department of Corrections, Florida prison. My last 4 years has been at GO Prison, Graceville.
Wow, so
here.
you are the right person to speak to about this.
Okay.
Okay, what are the differences?
The differences are astronomical. When I was in state prison, I was not afforded an opportunity to do anything. If you're in state prison, when you get up in the morning, you're either going to clean up the dorm or go to the rec yard. Since I've been at Graceville, GO facility, I've been allowed to take several digital design classes, computer classes. I've graduated technology support class. I've graduated digital design. I've taken a business course. I've taken faith-based. And I've also graduated faith-based, and now I'm an assistant facilitator and teacher in
Wow.
faith-based. I believe that society on a whole has taken many men that had drug addictions, had issues, and have thrown them away, locked them up, and basically they don't want them in society any longer. GO, I believe, has provided an opportunity to say that, hey, lives can be rehabilitated. GO is willing to invest into people,
Right.
and not treat us as inanimate objects.
Right.
And on that investment, I believe that GO, the faith-based community, I believe the continuum of care, I believe that they have found a way where they can say, hey, we can take men, rehabilitate men, and make men reintegratable back into society.
So they're
And-
making an investment in the people that are here.
Absolutely.
And you don't see that.
On
the DOC level.
Not at all. And I
Right.
believe the DOC does not want to make that investment, and therefore they speak against it. That's just my view of it.
Well, I've been to at least about 10 prisons. That's the best prison I've ever been to in my life, you know. And I just thank God that He made it possible for me to come here, because being here, I have got all the tools that I need to be successful this time when I re-enter into our society.
I feel like if I had the tools that they give us here, like the programs that they offer, the first time of my incarceration, I probably wouldn't have had another prior conviction, because they do kind of help you. They offer more as far as like education, the trades, and then the continuum care, the COC.
Right.
They don't offer that at DOC camps. They don't
Interesting.
just give you the $50 and
So they give you $50 and they just say, get out the door.
get out the door, and that's it.
Wow. So you've had that in both prior circumstances. You were not in GO.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
I
correct?
wasn't in jail, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you just literally were handed $50 and like, good luck with your life.
Yeah, good luck with your life.
That's
No
insane to me.
trades.
What were they expecting?
I guess for me to come back.
For you to come back, right? I mean, that sounds insane, but it seems like that's what they were expecting. So here you've had programs. What did you take? Did you do vocational? Did you go for your GED?
Well, I took the IOP program, and I already had my diploma, so I tried to sign up for a PC support class, but I didn't have enough time left, so I did
Right.
a transition. And
That's a good thing,
IOP,
right?
yeah.
It's a good thing you didn't have enough time left.
It's a big difference here at GO. The education that I've received here, that I believe it's going to make a very big difference when I'm released. It's given me the tools that's necessary to take and to really make it on the outside. And I've learned so much. And the guards here, they interact, and they try to do their best to give us everything that they can to if we have any problems. And the education here, they go far and above and beyond the call of duty
Right.
to see that we're educated and that we are successful when we leave here from prison. And the IOP, it's great. Here we learn about addiction and our peer pressure, where we need to live, where we don't need to live, relationships. I've learned so much. I could go on and on and on about it, and the teachers here are wonderful, and it's we eat good here, we're clothed good here, and I think that I really have a chance to be successful, and I'm not going to come back to prison because I have the tools and the resources now that's available to me when I'm released from here. And it's all the way from having transportation, having housing, having clothing.
They've got all of
And
that lined up for you.
all of that is lined up,
Wow.
and even more. It goes on to even if I want to further my education, which I do. I want to go to college, and the GO group, they're going to help me with my books or anything that I might need to finish my education, to further my education. And I am very, very grateful
Wow.
to be here in a private institution. I've been in a DOC institution, and they give you a few dollars and they send you on your way, and They don't even say, well, I hope you make it or good luck, you know, and there's nothing. And it's no wonder the recidivism rate is terrible. It's
Right.
because they do not offer anything. They do not offer any kind of help when we're released. These men here, we need help, and we have hope here at the GO group.
Hope.
And it's hope.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a big difference here. They care about you. I started off in AB1, the lowest class they had, and then I went to AB3, and then I did on GED in 2013 and passed in January 2013. I did paint design, so I'm a certified painter in Florida now.
Oh, wow.
And I decided to go to landscape design. I got 1,800 hours there. So I'm thinking about pursuing that in a college or something when I get out, because I'm going to a 12-step program to keep me sober, which I've been sober the whole time I've been in prison.
That is so
no
great.
No trouble. I'm doing much better. It's like a 180.
So why do you think it is that politicians are saying the opposite? That, you know, we have these politicians that are saying, these are the bad guys, GO group.
I don't know. I've heard our president saying that we need to educate prisoners, and I believe that myself, because education is power, wisdom is power, and without it, how can we be successful?
Right.
If we're not taught? We
Right.
need to learn how to be successful. We need to learn this, and I'm thankful that I'm learning a lot here.
They don't really want to help you get out. They feel like because you've been a convicted felon that you're lost cause, you lost hope, you ain't really trying to get out and better yourself. But if I'm not given the necessary or proper tools to, you know,
Right.
to help myself, then that's probably what I want to do. So they don't want to.
They don't actually want to correct.
They don't want to.
They want to punish.
Punish.
I have no idea.
No
man.
idea.
Maybe they're just scared for their jobs.
Right. Yeah, right. It just,
Because there's a lot of
It doesn't
very,
really make
very
sense.
intelligent people in prison, and there's so many different things people can do in here that it's amazing.
right.
Some of the artists I've seen is some of the best art I've ever seen in my life has been in here.
Like, is this the first prison sentence that you're serving out where you've been offered a program that has helped you with that transition in these scenarios that they're giving you?
Yes, ma'am. I really think this time that I have been in prison numerous times, and I think this time that I'm really going to be able to make it, thanks to COC. And I really think I'm going to make it. I know I'm going to make it this time.
You know you're going to make it this time.
So Gracefield is great, you know, and CSU is very great. And I think DOC should have it too,
Right.
offer to you, you know, and you know, the transitional house, that's good too, you know, like it's gonna have stipulations, but I need those stipulations over me when I get out, you know, like a timetable to be in and this and that.
Yes.
I need that. I need that.
I was pretty down and out when I come to prison. This place saved my life, actually. I lost my wife since I've been here, and my brother died 3 weeks ago.
Oh gosh, I'm so
And
sorry to hear
I've
that.
had like 18 friends die from drinking and taking drugs.
Right,
I would have probably been with them too,
right.
you know, but like I said, it saved me. It really has.
So if you could describe to me, how do you feel the general population feels here versus how the general population and the environment was when you were in Pensacola?
It's just a lot less tense. I mean, like I said, when you're there, you really have nothing to look forward to but you know, soup and bag of chips. Where here you got people that offers you a sense of support,
Right.
and you know there'll be a day when you get out versus DOC. You're wondering if you're gonna make it out. To be
Wow.
honest with you, and I mean here, you're still in prison, but at the same time you have more of an opportunity, more of a upbeat from the positive vibes that are around you, as far as they don't just consider you a throwaway individual.
COC, they give you the $100 Ross card, $100 Winn-Dixie card. They give you a hygiene package, a bicycle for transportation or a bus pass. And it's like they didn't give you that at DOC. It's like they help you sign up for school if you enrolled in school. They help you get your tools if you already have a trade.
Right.
And it's like, and they weren't offering that at DOC, so.
Wow, so you were part of the faith-based community. Can you let me know what that's like, the faith-based dorms?
The faith-based dorms are an opportunity. I believe the faith-based dorms create an opportunity for men that are in prison that want to live a better life, that want to do better, that want to rehabilitate themselves. They provide that opportunity for them. We structure classes that deal with attitudes, health and family, marriage and family, mentoring. And one of the things that I've done is that I've taken an opportunity to try to reach out to young men. In 2007, my 17-year-old son was murdered in New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
And I've made it a purpose of my life to try to reach out to young men to deter them from gang culture, gang activity. And the faith-based dormitory has provided me a great opportunity to do that. And the optimism that's here is because people that are incarcerated here feel as if they have an opportunity. They feel as if they have a chance to actually succeed, to actually be reintegrated back into society. Most of the men that I talk with in faith-based, men that I teach in classes that I teach, conflict resolution, anger management, these guys feel like they haven't just been thrown away. They feel like they have an actual chance to make a difference,
right,
to change their lives. And I truly believe that what I have been given here, the opportunities that I've been given, I would have never have gotten these opportunities in state prison.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you guys my initial emotions walking out of there. Immediately frustrated and angry and upset that our politicians lie. They lie for the sake of getting votes, and they lie on the backs and on the lives of inmates. The consensus, obviously, you will see the footage, the consensus here is that these prisoners, thank God, that they are in a private system. They have all spent time in public systems, and they tell you that the overwhelming difference is that in private systems, they make an investment in the person, and they feel that they can leave here rehabilitated, whereas in the public systems, it was punitive, and they felt like just another number, and they were kicked out with $50 in a bus ticket. It is jarring to me that we have politicians in an effort to demonize capitalism that are willing to take away the only real chances that these men feel that they have to be reintroduced into society in a productive manner. My heart completely broke, I guess in all of the best possible ways, speaking to that last inmate who we know is going to be in there for life, and just seeing what optimism he had because he was a part of a faith-based community. He spent 14 years in a public system, and now he's in a private one, and he thanks God every day because he gets to get up and he gets to teach his others about everything that he has learned within the walls that he's never going to leave. I guess the theme here is what I've realized in my life, which is that leftists lie. They will lie their way all the way to the top, and they don't care about those men in there. They don't care about those men who are so inspired and grateful that GEO and other groups like them have stepped up to the plate to provide real opportunities. Whereas the public has just completely given up on them. The public prison system does not make an investment in their futures whatsoever. Groups like this really do.
You hear from 90 to 95% of the people that are incarcerated will be coming home. They're going to come back to be our neighbors, to live with us. So while we have them in our custody, again, why not do something different? If you continue to do the same thing, continue to have people there, then you're going to get the same results. That's why, several years ago, when we looked at what's happening and looking at developing the program, in 2017, GEO invested almost $10 million, in creating a continuum of care division.
Wow, $10 million invested in continuum care. But the narrative out there is that all you guys care about is your bottom line. So how does that translate?
We're invested in providing that government services. So we got a financial investment in that to do the best we can, to be better than anybody else. We always are striving to be the best, not just because it sounds good, but we're dealing with individuals who are incarcerated. And if we can make a positive difference in their life, then we're going to do that.
How do you measure success in these programs?
So some of the key performance indicators that we look at regarding programming, there's a few specific ones that we look at. High school equivalency diplomas, or GED diplomas that are earned, substance abuse programming completions, as well as vocational certifications. When you look at 2017, we provided our participants over 2,600 GEDs or high school equivalency diplomas to that population. Then we also provided 8,400 participants with a substance abuse completion certification, and over 7,400 completed vocational programming. I wanted to mention just about post-release services.
Right.
That call center that's based out of our corporate office is accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when those participants are released, so now we're beyond that 90 days prior, they're provided a 1-800 number, so they can call anytime to talk to their case manager. They have an assigned case manager, and we continue to maintain contact with them for up to 12 months. And during those contacts, we're going back to that transition plan and ensuring that we've met those goals and those needs. And some of those services, if it's housing, food, clothing for work, maybe tools for work, we'll provide that service to them at no cost to that participant in the community. So we're making sure that we are providing them the best opportunity to succeed. And at our Graceville facility, we've seen a 40% reduction in the return rate, so those coming back to incarceration since the inception of the continuum of care and the full continuum of care with post-release services out of that facility.
Okay guys, so next I am headed to the James Club. The James Club is a community nonprofit that helps with inmates integrating into society after their incarceration. They're one of many local organizations that partner with the GEO Group to focus on this transition period. So let's go speak to some of these people and see if these programs are actually helping them.
James Club is open to everyone looking to turn their life around.
Okay.
We offer a second chance to men. So many of our clients struggle with drugs and or alcohol, or in the past criminal behavior, or a myriad of other addictions. Their commonality is they're looking to better their life and become self-sufficient.
Do you exclusively work with people that are coming out of the prison system, or if there are just people that are struggling within their communities, are they welcome to come and join the James Club Recovery Center as well?
That's a good question. They are welcome, of course, but we're dedicated to helping men when they first get out of jail or prison. And we're delighted to be working with the GEO Group so that they can become productive and successful members of society.
How long have you been working with the GEO Group?
For 2 years now.
And what has that process been like? What are the results that you're seeing?
It's been beyond amazing.
Okay.
To watch men come in when they first come out of prison, to watch their recovery progress, to watch them become gainfully employed, to watch their self-esteem improve. At the James Club, for example, on the weekends, as a group, we feed the homeless together. We go to soup kitchens.
Oh, wow.
We go to nursing homes. We provide employment placement services. So we're really trying to make a difference in the community. I don't think the public knows the truth.
Right.
To see real life examples of men that are coming into a program like the James Club from an entity like the GEO Group, and then to watch these men recover and become good husbands and good fathers and become honest men. That's our key. We want men to do the right thing. So I think if there was more exposure to the outcome, where there's more stories on these individuals, how they now become self-sufficient because of an entity like the GEO Group, I think the perception from the public might change.
Okay, so it can't all be good. There's got to be some people that attempt to go through this process and it doesn't work well for them. Do you find, statistically speaking, how many people fall into that category versus people that actually are able to get their lives started and contribute to society again?
Well, that's very true. Not everyone is a success story, but we found many times that we plant seeds. So even if someone comes in initially, it appears that that person did not become a success story, many times they'll come back to our program and they'll still benefit from the experience.
My name is Don. I grew up in South Carolina. I lived in Los Angeles for 16 years before I had to come to Florida to serve my sentence. I have a sentence of 3 years for trafficking.
Okay.
I was an addict for 19 years, very long time of my life, very dark time. And I came and did my time in Florida. And once I did my time at the GEO Group, I was placed into the James Club.
Wow. So what has the James Club experience been like for you? How long have you been there, and what do you you laugh?
Because this is a funny story. When I first got out, I was very thankful to GEO because they give you a voucher, and that was my stepping stone. I wasn't looking to be in recovery. I wasn't taking it seriously because my head wasn't in the right place. But
when you got out?
Yeah, but after a couple of months of being there and getting to know the people in the program, what it stood for and where I could be at in my life, I took it seriously. I did my step work. I got a great sponsor, and I did the deed of what I needed to do to put me in a better place, because I was so tired of being stuck in this cycle of being an addict, of getting so much in life and then losing it again and doing it over and over again, because that cycle was just not working for me.
So was that your first sentence, or had you spent time in
It was my first sentence.
It was your first sentence, so you were actually blessed to be put into a private prison for your first time?
Woo! You just don't know.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that prison is a great experience, but it was a rewarding experience because I took it seriously. They placed me in the therapeutic community program, which is basically a substance abuse program. And I had a great counselor who worked with me, and she met with me every week. And it's what basically set me on the path to where I am today, to be able to sit here with you, in a nice dress shirt, suit, tie and pants, and be able to go to work this afternoon and have money in the bank and save up to, buy a house. And it was the forefront of where I am today. It's just a pinnacle.
Right.
And I'm appreciative of that. What am I going to do with that blessing is, now that I have completed the steps, I'm starting to sponsor guys, which it adds a little more pressure to me, but I think I need that pressure right now because I need it to keep me busy and keep my mind focused on the positive attributes of life.
That's correct.
Because I feel great when I'm able to sit down with my sponsor and tell him, hey, I actually talked to somebody today who really needs help, and I think I can help them. It just makes me feel good internally to know that I'm able to put that blessing back out there.
Exactly.
Because I was worried about becoming a negative statistic. Because we're all statistics. Every one of us are statistics.
We are.
But you don't have to be a negative one, you can be a positive statistic. And that's what I want to do. I want to be one of those people that makes, even though if it's a small difference in the world, I just want to do something that's good for change, instead of looking out for myself all the time.
I was sentenced for grand theft, but I was purchasing materials from a company that I shouldn't have been, but a manager was kind of involved in it. It was a sting operation I got set up.
Okay.
And I wound up losing my electrician's license over it and my contracting license over it, and then they suspended it for 5 years, the state of Florida did. Now, I guess I came out and actually GEO set me up with the James Club. They got me, instead of dumping me on the street with $50 like a DOC would, and just a bus ticket to wherever and said, see you later, I got started back. I've only been out for 30 days.
Wow.
But I have 25 customers
Congratulations.
now. And,
so you were in for 2.5 years?
I was in for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got 25 customers now and helping guys, giving guys jobs out of the house and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Already 25 customers?
Yep. I just got I just applied for an LLC yesterday. And then my tax ID number and stuff like that, that'll all be gone through in like another 7 days.
So it really blows my mind because, like I was saying to you earlier, to see how politicians sell the story of what happens, right? And of course, prisoners and inmates, they can't speak for themselves, right? So people jump on a platform and they talk for you and they say, I'm going to do the inmates a favor and I'm going to abolish the private prison system because it's ridiculous that there's a profit market and the inmates are better off under state-run facilities.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're crazy.
They're crazy.
Why do they do it? Nobody can give me an answer as to why they would do that. Why wouldn't they want your life to be better? Why wouldn't they want you to have another opportunity to get out, go to James Club Recovery and restart your life and file an LLC?
Yeah, they're setting people up for downfall.
I was in GEO about 1 year and 4 months. To the day.
So you obviously heard a little bit why I'm here. I've just been sort of exploring. I'm really interested in the prison system and in inmates because I grew up where all of my uncles were in prison and they served multiple sentences for various things. But they were always in the state penitentiary and they were never in a private prison system. I had this idea growing up that private prison facilities were evil, because that's what I was taught from the mainstream media. They sort of say, they don't have opportunities here, that they should be exclusively going to state-run facilities. And we have a lot of politicians that now get on a platform and say that they're going to abolish the private prison system. So I'm now learning, obviously, that that is not the correct narrative. And I just want to hear a little bit about your experience inside of a GEO facility.
I put in for a good adjustment transfer. And a lot of the inmates are saying, well, it might take up to 3 or 4 years. And so I waited, and within 2 weeks, I was moved to Blackwater, which is a private facility. And it was like night and day, you know.
Wow.
More health care, more concern for the prisoners' welfare. So it's a big difference between state-run facilities and private facilities. That was my first rodeo.
Okay, yeah.
And God willing, my last.
Right.
So I wanted to say I put a couple private prisons because another inmate told me that they were better if you're going to do time.
That's what I was curious about. So the inmates understand, there's an understanding amongst the inmates in public systems that the private ones are better.
Absolutely.
And that if you want better conditions, you need to transfer over into a private prison.
Absolutely. I just put my faith in God, you know, and he had me gone within 2 weeks.
Wow. So you had said earlier that you wanted to focus on your future. And I love that because I always say to people, focus on your future instead of focusing on your past. What does that look like for you?
For me, the future looks very bright. I was able, through the private facility Blackwater, to be introduced to the GEO group. A lot of the guys, if they don't have life skills, they just go back to the same things and they wind right back up in the system. So, like I said, by God's grace, I was able to get through the GEO program. And Miss Godsinger, I sat down with her. She took my case, and she said, "That's awesome." Once I told my story, she saw my compassion. I let her know that I made a mistake, but I was remorseful of it. So she took my case, she put it to the front, and she said, "This one's gonna make it. Make sure his get to the top, because he's gonna make it." From there, I had the privilege of having Ralph Fritz as my case managers, the world's best case manager for GEO Group. And he was able to get me in a James Club that has made a tremendous impact on my life. Today, I am a manager at the James Club. And it's all by God's grace that I sit here and have the GEO Group and James Club in my life to help me be a better man, a better person, and a better child of God.
Your voice is so important. Your voice is so important, and it pains me to know that politicians don't care to hear these voices and things that, to get the word out about what's actually happening. You said that by God's grace, there are people that mentored you. I believe fully that you are going to be a person that mentors other younger people that are coming out and need guidance and need what I think is the most important issue in the Black community is father absence.
Absolutely.
Having men that are available for them to show them what's right and what's wrong. And I feel that God has blessed me by just letting me sit next to you and hear your story. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I just want to say one more quick thing.
Of course.
I wanted to say, I believe, you know, as crazy as it might sound, that God allowed me to have this experience, right? So I can help other men coming out of jail and prison that's still lost, that's still on drugs and alcohol. So, you know, through our struggles and through our hardships, good can still come out of it.
That God picks people to go through certain things. I've lived through so many things, you know, different parents, uncles going through certain things that I saw when I was young. I genuinely believe that all of those things were blessings from God because he knew that one day I was going to have a voice and I was going to be able to get the right story out.
That's right.
And God put you and I in this room together.
Amen.
And these cameras and these camera guys so that we could get this message out. And I promise you I'm going to get that message out.
Thank you.
I'm not going back. I'm not going back this time. I don't think I'm ever going to come back again. That was what you heard over and over again. And what's interesting is that they had all been back to prison, but it was their first time ever being a part of a private prison facility, and they felt that they had finally been given the tools to better their lives. You heard them say that the difference is that the public system is punitive and the private system is rehabilitative. We rehabilitate people who our alcoholics. We rehabilitate people who are suffering from drug addictions. Why aren't we also rehabilitating people who are leading lives of crimes? Why don't we demand a system like the private prison facilities that rehabilitates inmates so that they never come back ever again? I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. This is a facility that they are going to die inside of, and they feel grateful to God for being able to be in the private prison system. I hope that when people watch these, that when people see what's actually happening, when people hear the voices from the actual inmates, that it makes them pause for a second, that people pause and they realize that we make decisions for people. It's a narrative, and it's a disgusting narrative. It makes me question everything, and the biggest question that I have is why? What is the point on lying on these inmates? What is the point of trying to create a situation for them that they don't want? I think the obvious answer is that it's for votes. And sitting down with them was incredibly emotional, especially knowing that some of them were never, ever, ever going to step outside of that facility ever again. It's so important that we understand the implications of the decisions that we make. Politicians can jump on stage and they can generate so much emotion. We need to be careful that they're not manipulating our emotions for votes. GEO is not some greedy capitalist company, despite what all of the media would have you believe, that is trying to hurt inmates. They're trying to help them. They're not trying to help them, they are helping them. Why aren't our politicians wanting to get the truth out about that? Why are they instead lying to the public? And that's a wrap. You now have the facts. Don't fall for the narrative again.